Are you ready for your case? Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Let me just set this up as well. I think this is our fifth case you're doing together.
What?
I think this is our fifth case together.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Lovepreet? Lovepreet, you're frozen. Oh,
I'm frozen?
oh, here we go. We're good. Okay.
Okay, okay. Okay. So our client today, is a large regional electric utility company that has seen negative earnings trends in the past 12 months. They think that part of this relates to the write down of a significant amount of bad debt in the past year. They operate in a state similar to Texas, where utilities market is open and competitive. There are approximately 30 players in the market, and consumers can choose the provider that they want. Contracts are generally 6 to 12 months. After the end of the contract, customers can change providers with little to no cost. The client wants to identify the root cause of their loss of profitability and what actions they should take to improve their profitability. The company does not produce electricity. They purchase it in the open market and they sell it to their customers.
Great. Thank you.
No
So
problem.
just to recap, our client is a large regional electric utility company. They operate in a state such as Texas, and they would like to determine how they could increase their profitability after 12 months of low profitability,
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
negative. Okay. Um, let's see. So the goal is to increase profitability. So just to have some clarifying questions, if that's all right. Um,
Yes.
just to clarify, what is a write down of bad debt? What does that exactly mean?
Yeah. So write down a bad debt means that there was something like they've in their accounting books, they've had to account for a bad debt that they had. So a bad debt could be like, for example, $1 million that was like an expense that didn't add value to their company.
I see, I see.
So in their books, they had to account for this debt that was useless to them. So now, so when you have to account for bad debt, it could look like you didn't make that much money because now this year you have to subtract $1 million for something, but really you have made money.
Okay, absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay. So they would like to increase profitability in the operating location. So and they would purchase their okay.
Is it,
Okay.
would you like me to go over the prompt again?
No, I think I'm all right. Could I have a moment to structure my thoughts and then we could go over my
Yes,
approach?
you can. Do you have any other questions about anything related to the
Oh,
case?
perhaps what is our market share currently of the 30
Yeah.
players?
Yeah, there's no information provided about the market share,
Okay.
and there is no information about the company.
No info about company. Okay. Let's see. 30 players. Okay. Great. And so there's supply chains that they purchase on the open market and then through contracts they their consumers. Do we serve individual consumers or do we serve businesses? What kind of demographic are
Yeah, there's a device range of consumers. So, there's businesses, there's individual families. So it's, you can think about it like
Mhm.
businesses like people. So there's multiple, it's a B2B. So it's not B2B, it's B2C.
B2C. Okay, B2C consumer. Okay. Great. Operating in Texas. Um, great. Yeah, I think that's all I need for now. Could I have a moment to structure my thoughts and then we could go over
Yeah,
my
for sure.
perspective? Great. Great. So thank you, Lapreet. I'm here. Do you
Mm.
mind if we go over my approach together?
Yeah, go ahead.
So on the topic of increasing profitability for our large regional electric utility company, I like to look at three different buckets to approach this problem. The
Mm,
first would be the current pricing model of our company especially regarding the sales and marketing of our products, particularly because we source our energy and our product from other companies. I imagine that largely the business model would be the sales and marketing would be the largest costs of salesmen
mhm,
and getting contracts from our. So I'd like to look at the sales and marketing of how our utilities company connects the our product with the consumer. And so that would be the large part I'll look at. In regards to sourcing the energy sources, so in the beginning of the supply chain, I'd like to look
mm,
at which of our the when we purchase our utilities on the open market, where we're sourcing these utilities and where and overall how those suppliers are performing and possibly whether that could contribute to declining profitability.
mm,
And finally, I like to look at the open market. So I like to look at the competitors,
mhm,
and see how they're performing, whether or not they are offering some pricing models or some services that we aren't. And as
mhm.
well, look at the consumers, whether families or businesses or individuals, or any other ideas, any reason that the demographics are performing less or more so. Perhaps there's some weather patterns, or perhaps there's some new business taxes that could
Mm,
prevent, that could be increasing utility prices. And as well, I'd like to look at legal in regards to governmental factors, that perhaps there are taxes or perhaps there are new regulations that could be affecting our bottom line.
yeah.
So first of all, for this process, I think that primarily because we have such a large marketplace with 30 players,
Mm,
I'd like to look at our sales and marketing costs because and whether or not our current operating model to connect our customers with our utilities is operating well. And I I want to look at this because, well, in fact, I would actually, if I could correct, I'd like to look at the how their competitors are playing and seeing whether or not decreasing profitability is across the industry trend in this region. So, is there any information on where the competitor?
mm.
Because with 30 different players, I'd like to see if our company is the lone performing poorly, or if this is a market-wide trend.
Yeah, so there's some facts I can actually share with you. So the revenue has actually been consistent over the past 12 months. The company has very little ability to increase price as it's a very competitive market and consumers make choices on price. There are a lot of rules in place as far as incentives you can offer and the differentiation that the company can make. The company, our client, has 1 million customers, which is largely an unchanged number from prior years. And the kilowatt usage by customers is largely unchanged. Although the number of customers is consistent, there are large amounts of turnover in customers each year as their contracts expire. Some customers leave for other providers, and the other customers are obtained. Deposits are required to start the service. The largest deposit currently in the market is $400. And the deposit we require from all customers is $100.
Great, thank you.
Mm,
So from this, in regards to increasing profitability, it looks like the revenue has been consistent for 12 months, and the ability to increase price would
mhm,
be there's not so much ability to increase price. And so if I were to look at increasing revenue, I would like to look at increasing the volume. So in some way signing on more consumers or signing on more customers. That's
mhm.
one avenue I would take. There's little rules for differentiation. I would imagine, there isn't some kind of special new electricity or gas, so little differentiation makes sense. and the
Did
usage
you I'm sorry, did you also ask for information about the costs or only the revenues?
um
I
uh,
think
uh I think if there are any sales and marketing, if there's any sales and marketing costs as well associated, that would.
yeah, so I can share some information about the costs. So their largest expense is the cost of goods sold.
Okay.
This consists of electricity bought from the traders, and this division has been profitable for the last year. The other cost they have is the cost to serve, which is like billing, variable costs like service calls, cost to cut off service, and debt collection.
Okay. And those are variable costs?
Debt collection isn't a variable cost, it's a general overall cost that they have. And
Okay.
that's like a part of their largest expense, a part of their cost of goods sold.
Okay. Great.
Mhm.
Thank you. Okay. So, okay. So this is a lot of information. But again, with the revenue, looks like increasing volume, so signing on more customers into our contracts would be a great way to increase volume. And so that could be one to look into. The large expenses cost of goods sold for our costs. And so we could look into looking at new traders to gain our utilities and where we gain them to eventually sell to our customers. So maybe new traders would be a way to go. As well as service calls, and general overall cost. If we could decrease the number of service calls, whether or not we use new traders that that are closer to our customers, and where there would be less distance to cross with our utilities, maybe there would be less service calls, especially if our grid is very interconnected and if there's one outage in one area or one malfunction in the grid, it could affect it. But of course, there are costs to re-coordinate that. But regardless, with the costs, looking at new providers or looking at new traders to gain our utilities would be a strong place to start.
Yeah.
So between that, it looks like the revenue, just to go back with the revenue, there's not so much ability to differentiate, not so much ability to increase the price, no change in the usage, customers leave and come, and our deposit seems to be around lower, a quarter of the highest in the market. So I think that in regards to increasing revenue, there's not much wiggle room, or not much we can do in that space. And so I would imagine primarily the way to increase profitability for our customer, for our client, is to focus on the costs. So
Yeah.
if you unless you have a different place that you'd like to begin, I'd like to
Mhm.
first look at whether there are new traders or new places we can source our utilities such that it would
Yeah.
be lower cost of goods sold.
Yeah, there's no information on that, but I do have information about the debt collection.
Okay, the debt collection.
Yeah.
Great. So
So,
yes, please go ahead.
yeah, so this is the life cycle of a bad debt customer. The customer signs up, they pay $100 deposit. There is a customer acquisition cost. That's our marketing expense there, right?
Yes.
Then the customer pays per kilowatt hour and they receive a monthly bill. Say this customer does not pay the bill, by law, their electricity cannot be cut until the next 60 days, until they're 60 days past their bill due date. This means that the company ends up providing them for electricity for another 60 days.
Okay.
Cutting off electricity costs the company $75.
Great. Okay.
So the company will try to collect this on the bill. So they will try to collect on the bill. It costs $50 to collect, and they're able to recover about 50% of accounts on average of these bad debt accounts. And average period of service is 24 months, which assumes low stops paying after 22.
Okay.
Mhm.
Stop paying 22. Okay.
Mhm.
So just to look at the life cycle of the debt collection, just to make sure I have all the correct information. So a customer signs up, puts $100 security deposit, and there is a customer acquisition cost. Is Is there a number to that, or is that overall?
There's no number to the
There's
acquisition cost.
Okay,
Mhm.
there's just our cost. Okay, absolutely. They pay a monthly bill. And do we have? Okay, they pay a monthly bill for kilowatt per hour. But of course, that stays the same as we mentioned before.
Yeah.
60 days cut. 60 days cut. Do we have a number for a monthly bill for kilowatt hours or? Um,
No, we don't have a number for that, but what I can tell you is that the average sort of electricity usage that a individual has is 1,000 kilowatt per month.
okay.
And so, okay, let me give you some more information.
Oh,
Okay, I'm
sure.
sorry, Steven, it's a lot of information.
No
Um,
problem.
so to inform the sort of acquisition cost is $50 on average.
Okay, $50 on average. Okay,
Yeah. With the cost to serve, which is $7 per month.
$7 per month. Okay, and that's in like routine, like service calls,
Yeah,
things.
yeah, exactly. And then I do have some other values as well.
Great.
So the average electricity usage is 1,000 kilowatt per month.
Yes.
And then it's 10 cents per kilowatt per hour in the price to them. And 0.09 per kilowatt is a cost to us.
Okay.
The cost to cut off service is $75.
Right. $75 to cut off service
Yeah.
for us, the
For
company.
us, yeah. And then the collection cost, so when we like end someone's electricity, it's $50 per account, so per person. And we have a 50% success rate of that.
Okay, and 50%.
Yeah.
Um,
So from here, maybe you can calculate what the customer lifetime value would be for this
yeah.
low segment.
Okay, absolutely.
Mhm.
Let's see. So the average life cycle, for the average customer.
Mhm.
So we have a million customers. So just to gather my thoughts really quick.
Mhm.
1 million customers,
Mhm.
sign up for $100 for security
Mhm.
deposit. Um, Acquisition cost is $50 on average first to
Mhm.
start,
Mhm.
average, and then plus $7 per month. Um, there's an average of 1,000 kilowatts per month for
Mhm.
average usage. And so, we'd look at later over 1 million customers. And for 800 kilowatts per month average, um, it costs 10 cents. It costs 10 cents for the customer. And so we would make the per customer, it would cost them 10 cents, but it would cost us 9 cents to run. So per
Yeah.
kilowatt
Stephen, if you
hour.
could just give me a second, I actually have exhibit to show you.
Oh, sure, sure. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So 1 second. So this first exhibit is going to inform your understanding of like the bad debt cycle,
Okay,
and the customer segmentation. So let me just pull that up for you.
okay. Does this reflect what we just talked about, all the numbers we
Yeah,
just?
yeah.
Okay,
Of
great.
it. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Customer segmentation. Okay, so let's take a minute. So just to reiterate, for 10 cents to the customer cost and 9 cents to us, so we make 1 cent per kilowatt hour,
Mhm.
per per month, per month.
Mhm.
And just coming up, fifth, we for every 24 months, um, credit rating. dun-
So, so based on this, I think the main takeaway here for you is that the customers with very low credit rating, we really want to take a look at how we can
Oh,
remove that in a way, right?
okay,
Because
yeah.
yeah, so I think that's the main takeaway here, and you touched on that correctly. I have
Oh,
another exhibit I can also show you because you got the main takeaway here, so I can
okay,
pop
to
it up
take
for
away
you.
the, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Share screen. So this is really pertaining to what we just talked about in terms of customer lifetime value.
Okay, customer lifetime value. Okay. So from here, what I see, oh, so very clearly looks like the low and very low customer credit rating customers have a negative customer lifetime value. So that would definitely be a big part of the cost that we have. And strong and medium percent of total, 30%, 20% for strong and medium customer lifetime value are 300 and 125 respectively. So from this, let's see, in regards to increasing profitability, it looks like we're making a profit on, for customer lifetime value for the strong medium. So I'm wondering why the low and very low customer lifetime values are so low. But first of all, I'd like to look at per for the 1 million customers that we have, I'd like to see, we have the percent of total, so I could find out how much of each of our population, how much money we're making on each segment of the credit rating. Do you think that's a good approach to have so far?
Yeah, I think it'd be wise for you just to focus on the low credit rating
Okay.
individuals because that's what we want to focus on.
Okay,
Mm.
great. So let's see. So, half of our customer base of 1 million people is
Mhm,
the low and very low. And
mhm,
so 1 million divided by 20%, that's 200,000. And then with the very low is 300,000. So I'll just, cut that to 2 and 3 just to simplify. Multiply that by multiply the 20% of 1 million times negative 103 times the 3, 30% of very low times the negative 350. It's a quick calculation. So that means for our low credit rating segment, we are losing, let's see, negative 206, 26, let's see. So that means we're losing $20.6 million on the low credit rating.
mhm,
For the very low, we are losing, of course, even more so. So three
mhm,
times negative 350, that is
mhm,
1, that's 105. The three up, we're losing $105 million per
mhm.
that customer
Yeah,
segment.
and
Um,
Stephen, if you could just try to calculate the total low value. So what would be the total value that we're losing? So
okay, of course. I'll just add them, right?
yeah, so if you consider the low revenues, then the energy cost and so forth, how would you calculate that?
Okay, so for low revenues, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? With the
Yeah, so basically what we're asking for here, let me just refer back here. Is calculating, yeah. So you want to be able to calculate the customer lifetime value. So I know I shared that exhibit with you, but based on that information, are you able to brainstorm and calculate the considerations there? So you have the numbers in terms of the average electricity usage, the collection costs, and so forth. Or are you able to calculate the customer lifetime value?
great, okay.
Can you share the information? I can do that. Yeah.
The average customer lifetime value
Yeah.
for 1 million users. Okay. Well, okay, so the customer lifetime value, everything that we have with the debt collection, all those values lead to, okay. Well, could I see the exhibit again? Because I can still find that average for the 1 million people.
Yeah. So which exhibit would you like to see again? Exhibit number
Uh,
2?
yeah, exhibit number 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so quickly, it looks like, okay, so just quickly with the same numbers, I just want to calculate the customer lifetime value of the strong and medium demographics. 300 times 300, that's 90 million customer lifetime value positive for the strong, and then for the 20%, that is 25 million. Okay, that's wait, yeah, 200, yeah, 25 million. Right. So adding that together is 115 million. We're profiting 115 million on our strong and medium credit rating demographics, but we're losing 125.6 million for our very low and very low customer segmentation. So right now with our current segmentation and the customer lifetime values, we're actually losing about $10 million, per lifetime cycle of our customers. So
Mhm.
really what comes to mind is to learn how we could bring up the strong and medium
Mhm.
demographics, credit rating demographics, and reduce the low and very low. And what I would see is the greatest loss of customer lifetime value is negative 350.
Mhm.
That's the greatest magnitude of loss. And so I'd like to learn how we could possibly decrease or lessen the make the customer segmentation of the very low credit rating smaller.
Mhm.
If there's any way we could reduce the loss in customer in the make less so the loss of customer lifetime value for the very low customer segment.
Yeah. Are there any ways that you could brainstorm to increase profitability as well as the risk of each sort of way to increase the profitability?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I take a moment to structure my thoughts?
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. Great. So I have a couple ideas. You might have to go over them together.
Yeah.
So for increasing revenue, I'd like to increase the sales and marketing that we have and allowing for more door-to-door salesmen or billboards or TV advertisements to bring in more possible contracts.
Mhm.
As well with the revenue, I'd like to split up in this increase profitability by revenue and costs.
Yeah.
As well by revenue, I'd also like to look at whether or not we can decrease the cost to serve that we have to for our clients. So figuring out what about our services are unreliable and
Mhm.
if seeing if we could, I guess that would be more on the cost section, is seeing why lower the cost to serve and seeing what about our services may be less reliable and why our customers would need more
Mhm.
reason for us to serve them. As well, for cost, we can find new vendors, possibly vendors that are cheaper.
Mhm.
And if it would mean renegotiating contracts with our vendors.
Mhm.
Um, and with revenue, we could also increase we could also figure out why our customers are turning over so often, or how often they are turning over, how the lower turnover to in order to reduce the churn rate and have our customers re-sign onto our contracts. And so to
Mhm.
figure out how to lower our turnover. And so that could be so much as, looking at our competition and seeing what they offer, and as well probably looking at the brand as well. I would imagine that there's a loyalty to certain utility companies. I would imagine it's actually quite annoying for a customer to change contracts and change utilities and change their whole plan. And so I would like to look at what reasons they would change, and also whether or not our brand in that region is strong. I would, such like in this area, PG&E is dominating this market, and so I would imagine if by different regions, if regionally our utility provide our client is popular in the region, or whether or not we are lesser players in the same geographical location where our grids are connected and located.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you. A lot of great ideas there, very holistic. Now imagine the CEO of this company walks through the door. What would you advise them to do?
Yes, thank you. You mind if I have a moment to structure my thoughts?
Yes, go ahead.
Great. So yes, I'm ready for the recommendation. So just to recap, in regards to the clients that come to us in regards to increasing profitability of their company, I would recommend to focus initially on reducing costs, particularly the cost of goods that probably maybe finding new trading partners, but as well, most importantly, is to reduce our customer segmentation of the very low credit rating scores because they are the lowest customer lifetime value. And so reducing that demographic by as much of the amount as possible would reduce costs to a significant degree. As well, another recommendation I would make is to look into the reliability of our services and reducing the variable cost of service calls. But however, the reducing the very low credit rating segment is of paramount. Some risks that I would look at is the risk that the very low in credit rating scores are predominant in the areas that we serve, and that lowering that customer segment may not be as so easy as signing less contracts or performing because the physical limitations of a utilities company restricts it such that new customer segments are difficult to so for next steps I would like to look at whether or not reducing the very low credit rating segment is possible given the location and our current standings within the market regarding location and in what other segments we play in. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, Stephen, good job. Yeah, you did a good job. I think the thing that got annoying with this case let me show you. When I was first reviewing it, I was like, oh, this makes sense, right? But it's like what they do is they tell you, like, let me show you. They tell you calculate customer lifetime value, show them exhibit 2. Okay, exhibit 2 is
I still don't see your screen. Hold on.
Oh, you don't see my screen? Okay.
I just see the Priya start screen sharing.
Okay, let me try again.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yeah. Okay, let's walk through it. Yeah.
Yeah, so Stephen, they're like, oh, once Canada has calculated customer lifetime value, show them the exhibit 2, right? And exhibit 2, this is the customer lifetime value amount, right? But it doesn't make sense how they get there because this is what they calculate. So they're like, oh, low revenues, 22 months times 100.
Okay.
Low energy costs, 24 months, $90. Total service costs, acquisition, then terminal cost, then collection cost, because 70% successful, 70% isn't. And then they just, subtract and add and get to that value.
Okay.
Right. But I think the 22 months that they get is from
yeah, that's from the above when they say like 24 months and estimated lows. Oh, okay. So there's different, that's what they meant by different credit rates.
So average period of service is 24 months and assume low stops paying after 22, right?
Okay, so that was the calculation.
This case they say it's beginner friendly, but it's obviously just a lot of information, and really all they want you to do is do one brainstorm and calculate customer lifetime value.
Oh, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole case.
Could you walk me through from beginning to end actually? Is that
yeah, let's go through it.
Okay.
So in the beginning, it starts here.
Okay.
I know that's supposed to
is this a difficult one?
Yeah, I don't think so because see, like here I got it. Let me show you.
Okay, what kind of profitability strategy?
Okay. So it says beginner friendly, yes, yeah.
Okay, well, okay, sure.
I don't know. When I walked through it, I was like, okay, it's gonna be okay, but it's obviously a lot of information.
So let's see. So 6
it's also the prompt, so there's giving us a lot of information here of there's 30 players and so forth, and how long contracts last and stuff, but none of this information really helps you calculate the customer lifetime value. And then you hit all the points here. So in terms of the framework, you touched on segments, market data, regulations. I did not hear you talk about profitability. Like I heard you say revenue. So that was That was a big issue there. But otherwise, like, and you heard profitability in the prompt too, like the client wants to identify the root cause of the loss profitability, then what actions they can do to improve profitability. But you missed that there.
Yeah, it's so
That was the main
simple.
thing.
Yeah, it was just simple. I missed the simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, a small thing to miss, you know. And then it was like, oh, give these facts, which is about like revenue, how many customers they have, how much they're charging as compared to the market. Then they're
Okay.
like, upon request, give this information about costs, right? And then from the cost, what's supposed to stand out is debt collection, you know, that what's going on there, like, are they not collecting debt on time? So they're leaving like money out in the air, right?
Yeah.
But you got to that once I nudged you a bit, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
And then like they say here too, that if the person, like if you start talking about like cost to serve, and then it's my job to be like, no, there's no information on that, then you're left with debt collection, you know. Then they go through like what the life cycle is of a bad customer, right? And you noted all that down, like it's so much information, but you got all of it, like, which was so good. And then yeah, and then I showed you exhibit 1, right? And you took away the right thing from exhibit 1, which is this one here, that okay, we need to focus on the low category, right?
Yeah.
Not the very low, they never didn't say that, so they're like, oh, over here, and then they're like, it says here somewhere like focus on low, so they tell you that they want you to focus on low, and it says that here too in analysis, like tell the candidate to focus on analyzing the low segment, with the goal of arriving at the customer lifetime value, right? And then I just started giving you this information.
How long is a lifetime? 24 months? 20?
Yeah, so let's go back down here.
Yeah.
So lifetime value becomes the dollar amount, right? So the total value. But like we use so we were supposed to use the 22 months that they give us to calculate how long we assume a low person stays, right? And then the energy cost we still end up paying is 24 months because we have to pay for another 60 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So then I guess so they get the cost per month, right?
Yeah.
And then they use like the service cost, which is provided to you, like the $7 and $24. Then you have the acquisition cost, you have the terminal cost, right? And then you would calculate the collections period, which is like, oh, it's $100, I think, right? They said, yeah, they're supposed to pay us $100, and we have 50% success rate of getting that money back in a way. So at the end, we only gain a $50, right? And then we have like
how many of this low credit, how much? I'm just gonna look at it. So
yeah,
there's
like I think for customer lifetime value, you don't need to know, you calculate like per customer. So total low value, like per customer is 103 negative. So we lose $103.
Okay.
Because they're not really accounting for how many customers here, right? So I guess the point of showing you this was like to show you this after is to show you that, oh, they do like 20% of their segment is a loss to them.
Okay.
Right. And then from there we go into the brainstorming of ways to increase their profitability, which was like here, if you focused more on the low credit rating people, that would be helpful. Like you had really thorough brainstorm, which is like so good, so much detail. But here they're like, oh, like the people who have a low credit rating, have them pay a greater deposit because they're more of a flight risk, you know. And then focus marketing towards the higher rated people, like have more people who have strong credit scores, right? And then make bills really easy to pay for low credit score people, and then also automate the billing process, you know. So I think for the most part you did well. It just got confusing as to how to calculate the customer lifetime value.
Okay.
You know, but otherwise you're very like,
my recommendation was fine. Okay.
Yeah, your recommendation was solid, you know. Let me just go back to my notes here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I should have picked a better case, you know. I thought this
was... No, this is good. This is good. Yeah. Yeah. No, don't worry at all. This is good. This is good.
The only notes I made was like for the opening, you didn't ask for an objective, and then your context questions I had to remind you, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is good. This is good. This is eye-opening.
Yeah. And then it was just like, oh, profit. Then your math is good. Like, you know how to do the math. It just like within the case, it got confusing how to calculate customer lifetime value. So maybe just like review that, like what are things I would have to consider, right? Or maybe a way to do customer lifetime value is like when you're making your notes, just be like circle the numbers you're getting and then how you can include those to calculate it, right? And then your brainstorming was good. Just that you could have focused more on like the bad debt customers, right? And like, what do we do about them relative to high debt and like the high credit rate scores? Then your recommendation was solid. It just that you missed next steps at the end. Otherwise, it was good.
Okay, okay. So, okay. I feel like I did really bad.
No, Steven, no. I think also like they say this case is beginner friendly. Like I blame myself. I should have picked a different
No,
case.
no, it's cool, it's cool.
No, but like you're fine. Like even me, I was like, what is this thing? But like you are fine, Stephen. Like you're
Yeah,
learning. Like you're
I forgot how to, I didn't know I was supposed to calculate customer lifetime value. Was I
Mhm.
supposed to just come to that conclusion that I was supposed to just know, okay, I need to figure out customer
No,
lifetime.
like I asked you that. Can you calculate the customer lifetime value?
Yeah, I don't even know the I don't even remember the
Mhm. Yeah, even me, I don't remember the equation. Like I feel like even the way they calculate it in this case is different than they teach us in MCO. Let's go over it. Let me pull it up.
Let's pull it up. Customer lifetime. I'll pull it up too. Why not? Oh, okay. Well, this is good. This is my first case in a little while, like over a week. So
Yeah, in your like Steven, honestly, like watch, you're gonna do great.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you like even you're not like the way you give examples and like your analysis and your synthesis is so strong because
Okay.
you have so much detail and that's really gonna help you.
And you can tell I'm pushing forward, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you are, like
Okay.
you're doing it, like you just gotta keep going, Steven. You're gonna figure it all out. Like then
Okay.
you're gonna be like, oh, like this is just like the process. It's the
Yeah.
grind. Every day you just keep going, you take care of yourself, everything's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So how much value do they bring to the company? So we realize that these people bring us a negative value, right? So the way to calculate it is average value of the sale.
Yeah.
This is lifetime value. Multiply the number of transactions multiplied by the retention time period. But that's not what they did in this case.
Okay. So what? Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like this case, I would send it to like your case coach and be
Yeah.
like, oh, see, like they calculate customer lifetime value like this. Like, how should I go about this? Because even the way they teach us in MCO how to calculate it is different than like the values they give here. Here it's more multiply this, add, subtract, you know?
I'll figure that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Definitely lots to review. Do you think so? Tomorrow's Thursday, right? Do you think
Mhm.
do you think we could redo this one for me tomorrow as well?
Yeah, sure, we can. When do you want to do it? Mhm.
It's up to you because so what's your plan for tomorrow? Oh, what are we doing? Because
Mhm.
so what? I definitely need to get into the groove of things. I think. Okay, yeah. So we're doing yours at 2 p.m. tomorrow, right? Eastern.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah, let's just do one for you tomorrow. I kind of feel like tomorrow I shouldn't do any case because
okay.
I've done a case every day now since Sunday,
Yeah,
So I feel like,
let's change
mhm,
this exact same one to with Steven. Yeah.
yeah, just,
Yeah.
yeah, let's just do it with you tomorrow. And like, Stephen, don't worry. Like, I wish I picked a different case and everything because I really
No,
want
no,
you
this
to
is cool.
feel better. But like, you're gonna do it like
Okay.
you review this too. I'll be like, oh, okay. And customer lifetime value is hard to calculate. It's like, what do you want me to continue? Like, if you go online, there's like a million different formulas. You
Okay.
know,
Cool.
so I think it really like I would even send a screenshot of that formula to your case coach and be like, how do you think I should approach this? Because like in they might have tricks, right? Because maybe what is best to do is always like highlight the numbers you get and then take a moment to be like, how can I calculate that? Customer lifetime value is a value these people bring. So you have to subtract basically what they pay you and what they cost you,
Yeah. Yeah. There were a
right?
lot of numbers. Yeah.
There was a lot of information, and that's all they wanted. They wanted a customer lifetime value and one brainstorm.
And you had told me, yeah, you had told me to calculate it too. So that's
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at okay. Could I see the calculation again? I'm just like
Yeah,
the
for sure. Let me pull it up.
all those numbers you gave me that were not part of the exhibits, those were all to calculate the customer lifetime value for the low credit rating, right?
Yeah, so let me pull it up. Where did this go? Okay.
I'm also glad too that I got the focusing on costs, right? Rather than the
Yeah,
revenue.
yeah. I was like, whoa, good job, Steven.
Yeah, because there's so little room for budging on the revenue. Okay,
Mhm.
so 22, so what did we how come you told me the $1,000 kilowatt hours, 1,000 kilowatt hours, all that stuff? Was that
Yeah, I don't
and
know. I think that just
a lot of those numbers didn't even seem relevant, right?
yeah, like I don't know why they give this. I think it just to, like give you like other
Yeah,
facts to provide, just to
yeah,
make you feel like, oh, what do I need? Oh my God,
yeah,
You know, like you don't need it, but they just want me to share it with you.
I didn't know you need your credit score to sign on to, you need your credit score for basically everything, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Okay.
you don't need to sign on, but like they know that, like, say if you're not paying a bill, like you're not paying your electricity bill, they're gonna be like, oh, this person has a poor credit score, they're a risk, you know?
Yeah, it'll hurt their credit
Yeah.
score. Okay, cool. Okay, well, yeah, thanks, Lapri. I gotta use the restroom. I gotta eat some dinner at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, we'll go over
Thank
this
you.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
gonna
see
be
you
great.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna be great. Do not worry, you got this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'll see you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
see you tomorrow.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.